Welcome to From the Dailies on Equa Television. And some of the stories making rounds on our papers is the All Progressive Congress zoning its chairmanship to the north, while the presidential position goes to the south. Then court jails ex-Minister of Water Resources, Sarah Ochepe, for money laundering and to serve 6 years jail term. This is From the Dailies, where we bring to you happenings and stories making headlines in our papers internationally and nationally. I am Olabi Tosin and I'll be reviewing papers alongside Sele Elisha. Good morning, Sele.
Good morning, Tosi.
Morning. And also we'll bring to you happenings and also up-to-date information, accurate information and reviews on happenings in and around the papers nationally and internationally. And Sele Elisha is with me in the studio. Good morning, Sele. We have a whole lot of papers to review this morning. Let's start with the Voice of Liberty.
Yes, the first story I will be taking: Nigeria to sign $3.3 billion loan agreement for 10 projects. Minister, the federal government building 958 bridges, road projects, and this is coming from Fashola. Electoral bill, you are ignorant, presidency replied those accusing Buhari of delaying assent. And court jail ex-minister Sarah Ochepe, 2 others to spend 6 years in prison. And the big story, 2023 APC zone its chairmanship position to the north, presidential flag bearer to the south. And the ruling All Progressive Congress APC has zoned its chairmanship to the north and presidential flag bearer to the south ahead of the 2023 election. Governor Nasiru El-Rufai of Kaduna and Atiku Bangudu of KB announced this while responding to questions during a media briefing that was held after the President Muhammadu Buhari meeting with state governors of the ruling party. And we're really looking at the big story. I think for personally I've been avoiding the story, but I think it's really something that people out there are really interested, because we know looking at the fact that they postponed the convention from February 26th to March 26th, and since they have ruled out the fact that the chairmanship will be going to the north and the presidential flag bearer will go to the south, now I think justice now has been done to this party now, because I know there have been agitations. The South have been saying that this flag bearer should move over to their side, because it has to, the zoning needs to go around the geopolitical zone in Nigeria for them to be able to come out with it. We're just hoping that there will be any more postponement when March 26th, once it's March 26th, they should hold their convention, because I think it has been a delay to even INEC bringing out the timetable come to 2023 election. So for them to have actually rule out things, now we know where we stand, and we know that waiting for the PDP to also bring out what they need to do, and then we know that there's not balance and in the the electoral processes, so that things will be done appropriately. And another story that actually captivated my heart is a 3.3 billion loan agreement for 10 projects. I think it's something, yes, we need a loan, but then we really, I always say it that it's not about getting loan, but are we growing? How do we intend to pay these loans back? Because we keep collecting loan. It's either we want to send those money over to the railway or also to look at roads. Yeah, these are things we need, because these are basic infrastructure the citizens need. But we need to also look at what we can do to create revenue as a country, so that we don't keep depending on other nations for loan to be able to do basic things in our own nation, and we don't have the means of paying them back. We really need to look at how we need to grow in this nation to pay back our loan.
Yes, I would like to talk about the big story on the Voice of Liberty. The truth is that Nigeria is not a one-party system. It's not ruled by just one party. Although there need to be fairness and equity in balancing everything, but this should not be it should not justify who will be the next president. This still lies in the hands of citizens. It still lies in the hands of those with their voters card in voting in the right government, because this is coming up at this time where the presidential position is going to the south. Definitely, we know that the Southerners have been agitating for this zoning to come to their side when you talk about the presidents. But we have individuals that have come up to talk about their presidential as being aspirants of the presidential seats. Like we have Tony Elumelu, we have others from the south that want to come out and coming out in other parties. So we should not just allow what the All Progressive Congress have said to determine who comes out. There are other parties, definitely. There are other parties people should look into. There are other people that have the good and also the interest of the country. So we should not allow this to carry us our attention, divert our attention from what is happening now, because with all this, you know, that the Southerners will be happy because it's coming to the south, so they want to give out their vote. Definitely you have the right to give out your vote to whatever party you so decide, but we should not be carried away with this coming at this point in time.
Yes, totally agree with you, Tosi, that we should not be carried away by the party, but we should look at competence and also accountability. And we also need to take a look at their track record. What have they done during all the time they have served in various little, sectors that have been given to them? When you're coming out to, to say you want to be the president of Nigeria, then you should know that it's not a child's play. I always say this. It's a very, very big responsibility. And if you're willing and you know that you're capable of that, then we should be able to see from the little position you've been running before saying you want to run for the presidency. Other stories still from the Voice of Liberty. 2023, Buhari-led APC government advanced to free and fair, transparent, credible election, and this is coming from the PDP. Senate to vote on report of the 1999 Constitution Review Committee come March 1st. And we have other stories here. We say Nigeria is a banana republic without enough bananas to eat. And this is coming from Nyiri Oshudare. If you want to know more about any of the story that is of interest, you just grab the Voice of Liberty and you can read more on any of the stories.
Thank you, Sola. Moving on to the Nation newspaper. Ex-minister, others get 6 years jail term for 450 million naira bribe. The former Minister of Water Resources, Sarah Ochepe, has been jailed for 6 months over conspiracy and money laundering. The Federal High Court Just Division jailed the former minister, Deputy Director for Goodluck Sambo 2015 election campaign, and former acting chairman of PDP, Plateau State, and one other after finding them guilty on Tuesday. Reports that Ochepe, Raymond Dabo, and Leo Sunday have been standing trial for 4 years over alleged conspiracy and money laundering. The trio was convicted by Justice H.M. Kuria of the Federal High Court Jos, Plateau State, on an Amendment 3-count charge bordering on conspiracy and money laundering launched by the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, EFCC. They were alleged to have received the sum of 450 million naira from Fidelity Bank PLC through cash and wire transfer by some oil companies and former Petroleum Resources Minister Dizani Alison Madueke to influence the outcome of the 2015 presidential election. Balogun to be installed Olubadan, March 11th. Family leads visit High Courts. And Jonathan keeps mum on 2023 speculated interest. Electoral bill, Buhari reject provision on public officials. On the big story says 2023 president, APC zoning tilt tickets in South's favor. Party to adopt consensus in picking national chair. And we have an analysis here which says northern zones will take positions that southern zones had in the last 9 years, and vice versa. Very simple, equitable, and fair. Lawmakers vote on constitution review next week. And the last story here we have 5 shot dead in Ilesha cult clash. Gunmen kill 2 in Ogun. Kwankwaso floats group, and details can be found in page 3 of the Nation newspaper. That's all for the Nation.
Okay, moving on now to the Leadership newspaper. Court jails ex-minister, 2 others, 3 months for 450 million naira fraud. APC governors accept new convention date zoning formula. And we have Kwankwaso, Yankasa, others from third, fourth ahead of the 2023. And the big story, 7 days to go. Pressure mounts on President Muhammadu Buhari to sign the electoral bill, with the rider civil society organizations embark on aggressive protests against delay. PDP fingers top government officials. It may be signed in a matter of hours. This is coming from the presidency. And we can see picture stories to back up that story. And we can see lots of people with placards in their hand coming out to say President Buhari, hashtag sign the electoral bill. And we can see even a small child, involved in that, holding the placard. I think it's something that everybody is worried, and we really need the president to sign the electoral bill so that we can go ahead, the INEC can go ahead with bringing out the timetable for election, and everybody will know what they stand. But regardless of that, what, just like you said earlier on, looking at the APC convention, while we wait for the president to sign the electoral bill, it's important that we as citizens work on getting our PVC, because I know registration is still on. Go get your PVC so that once this electoral bill is signed, you know that you're ready, you are set to go to the polling unit and be able to vote for the candidate of your choice, having it at the back of your mind that you're choosing for competent, accountable, looking at character also, which is very important, and also looking at your track record of the people. And other stories here, the international story here, we have Russia-Ukraine crisis. Oil price nearly 100 PB dollars, highest since 2014. And detail of that story can be found in the front page, and also you can continue reading that on page 7 of the Leadership newspaper. Federal government World Bank launches additional $176 million recovery project for the Northeast. So when you look at this story, it will definitely bring to mind looking at the huge amount that has been, launched for recovery of project in the Northeast, because we know they have been affected by insurgents, insecurity, and all that. We are really glad to see such an amount is being, taken to such a place. But then what will bring to mind is that we hope that the money will actually be used for the purpose which it was allocated for. We've had issues, or we've had cases where money is being allocated for a particular project, and somebody somewhere tend to side fund the money, and it doesn't really reach the people that it's supposed to reach. So we hope that after this money has been launched over to that place, that there'll be a follow-up, there'll be auditing. We don't need to wait for 2 years, 3 years before we say so amount of money that was allocated for so project was not, the project was not carried out well, and then yet we're having issues like this. These are things that we should follow up immediately. When we keep people on their toe, we should know that the rule of law will definitely take its way when somebody doesn't do it. So I think I'm really glad to see this, but we are keeping our fingers crossed, and we are hoping that the money that has been allocated will be used for the purpose which it was.
Yes, that's the problem we have, Celia, as a country, because just this week we had when groups raised 100 billion naira to look out for ways we can fight insecurity. Just yesterday again, we recorded where groups brought up money for fighting insecurity, looking out for ways we can grow as a country. But the problem is auditing, the problem is record keeping, because this money is coming handed over to who, and is that person responsible to keep records of how this money is being used? Or we just see that money, okay, it's another avenue for me to use this money for myself, for my family, and use it for my personal purposes, and leave aside the money is actually meant to be used for, like fighting insecurity. Look at the 100 billion naira. It's a huge sum of money, and this money can it can help in fighting insecurity even to the root, because you see that where our military men are talking about lack of equipment. We see the armory that was being looted. We see our armory where the arms, ammunitions went missing all of a sudden. And yesterday again, we record in Niger State where some NSCDC officials are being killed. Is it that they don't have enough equipment to fight? And when you talk about this, our military say they don't have the sophisticated weapons to fight this insurgency, to fight Boko Haram. How do those people get this equipment? So you see all those things, auditing is very good. If all this money can be audited, and if you can make sure that this money is used for what it's supposed to be, not that selfish interest will come into it, and this money will be used for personal interest. People start using it for their own self purposes, not using it for what it's supposed to be. But if it's going the right way and it's being used, and we can see that it's being audited, this money, every penny that is used is audited, then we'll see that all this money that are coming out from groups, from organizations, because definitely they are contributing money because of the insecurity we are going through as a country. We have people raising funds just to look out for ways we can tackle insecurity to the last, because insecurity have become the order of the day in our country. And I keep on saying, a country where there is insecurity, growth will be far from us, and we are looking out for growth, we are looking out for development. So we need to tackle insecurity, and groups have been coming together to look out for ways they can generate income, generate funds for us to tackle this issue of insecurity. But the problem is where people who are handed over, this money is handed over to them, they use it just for their personal interest. They are not concerned about the issue of insecurity. They're not concerned about the issue of growth for our country. They're not concerned about providing job opportunities. Because yesterday again we had where the former president Olusegun Obasanjo said, with the rate of school dropouts pupils and the lack of employment in our country, insecurity will continue to thrive. And that is, I see that it's really truthful, because with out of school, with school dropouts, we see the high rate of having thugs, terrorism acts. You keep on giving birth to so many things. So we need to look out for all these things. People are contributing this money, and if this money is used for what is being contributed for, it will give them it will help them and encourage them to even bring in more funds, because they know that yes, I'm contributing money to this country to tackle insecurity. The money is not enough. They are tackling insecurity. We look out for ways we can generate more income for them to still tackle insecurity. But if this money is coming up and we're using it for our personal interest, it's discouraging to them, and this is a red flag to even other countries that want to help us in tackling insecurity. We see our general election, even the foreign organizations, foreign countries are trying to lend a helping hands on how we can help in our election, because we see the election now, you see with issue where there will be sporadic shooting, there will be snatching of ballot boxes. People even die at the spot because they are going to cast their vote. This is still narrowed down to insecurity. But we just look out that if all this money are used and channeled into the right purposes, it will encourage even other countries that are looking out for ways they can help. It must not come through financially. Even advice alone help also on it can also help us on how we can look out for growth as a country.
Exactly. So just like it has been stated here, for recovering of projects, there are lots of projects that are lying idle. I think especially in Yobe State, there are lots of schools that have been affected as a result of that. So I think that money can also be channeled to that place, looking at the educational sector, creating water. There are lots of infrastructure that the people of the Northeast need at this point in time. So we just hope they'll pen it down and actually send money to that right direction. Other stories still from the leadership. National Assembly votes on Constitution Review report next week. And from the ASU strike, the reps urges federal government and ASU to adhere to the memorandum of understanding. A story of ASU has been lingering for so long, Tosi. And we know yesterday they had a meeting, and still, they're inadamant about it. They chose that if their demands are not being met, they are not going to call off the strike. And we've been saying this, we've been calling on ASU, been calling on the federal government to please give a listening ear to ASU. I think the money that they demand, we've had strike, ASU has had strike for 15, it is the 15th time they're having. And just like I said, in 2020, when it was supposed to be 1 week strike, warning strike, it ended up being 8 months. And now that they said 1 month, only God knows how long this strike will linger. And students are the affected, they are the ones at the receiving end at the end of the day. Just like you stated, the former president stating the fact that because of school dropouts that we are having, this can increase, insecurity, kidnapping, hoodlums, and all that. We are urging the federal government, if we really want to tackle insecurity, then we should look at the educational sector. This is a sector that is really suffering. It seems like cancer is eating up that place, and it's eating deep. If we keep turning a blind eye to what is happening in the educational sector, then we are bound to suffer. So I'm calling on the federal government to please look into the issue, address the strike, because it's really affecting parents, really affecting students, and we are not happy as a nation. So we are just hoping that you will please sit down, come to an understanding so that things will be resolved. And I think that is all from the leadership newspaper.
Thank you. On Daily Trust newspaper on 2023, Kwankwaso, Yakasai, Dalung, others form third force to wrest power. The former governor of Kano State, Musa Kwankwaso, alongside former Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Solomon Dalung, Buba Galadima, and other prominent Nigerians on Tuesday launched a third political force. Had earlier reported that the People's Democratic Party chieftain was set to officially declare the movement under the aegis of the national movement. This is coming at a time major political parties in the country are hoping to win political positions in the 2023 general election. The politicians noted that the third force was created to take over power from the All Progressive Congress and the PDP in 2023. The TNM said it was conscious of its strong duties to save Nigeria from disintegration. Families granted access to detained BDC operators, and Dizenis loot ex-minister Ochepe, others jailed. The screaming headlines on 2023 presidency: South set to pick APC ticket as North gets party chair. Buhari wants new chairman through consensus, and we were divided on timing of convention. This is coming from the governor of Kaduna State, El Rufai. Zero-sum game ongoing from Professor Kari, and fare hike. Airlines record low bookings as passengers shun flights. And just yesterday, we recorded about the increase in flight fares, whereby 50,000 is the amount for wherever you are going to, either Lagos to Abuja, Abuja to Lagos, or Asaba, wherever you are going to, it's 50,000 naira. Now we can record that there is the low record of booking as passengers shun flight. Sele, we know that at a point in time where the road networks are bad, the road transportation is even expensive now, and now we are seeing this issue, and all is as a result of the fuel scarcity, because even the diesel that is used also even in the airport have been increased. The prices have been increased, so that's why it has increased in the fare hike. And even the road transportation also is not safe any longer. We see the routes are used as hideout for criminals. They use those routes to kidnap people, demand huge amount of money as ransom from families. And we see that even the economy now, money is not in circulation. So now we are seeing that records from different airports and different concerning the fare hike, that there is a low record of booking. I keep on saying, if it's not important, Sele, it's better we just stay at home because of the problem we are going through. But we can't say this because even the people travel from one place to another because of different appointments they have. It could be true for business, it could be job opportunities, different things we can't say. But with the issue of security, the level at which we need to be security conscious, we need to stay at home, and we hope that something will be done about all those prices, either right from the road transportation down to the airlines. They should look into all this money, bring down the prices, because we need all these things for us to grow, and also we need movement from one place to the other to make ends meet. So we need all those prices to be brought down. There should be a balance in all these things, because if not for the rich any longer, who can travel through the airlines? Because of these prices, the prices are really high. So we need a balance on all these things. They should bring down the price, not just the airlines alone, even down to the road transport. And also we need the availability of the PMS, that's the premium motor spirit. It should be available so that we can stop all these long queues at the filling station, and people can have access to the premium motor spirit, even for their generators to run their businesses, and even at home, and to move around for road transportation.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. You know, when the MD of NNPC said that hopefully before the end of February they will be addressing that issue. Personally, I'm doing, will I say, countdown to the end of February. Today is 23rd. So now this will bring to mind, what are they doing? civil society came out to say he should resign if he cannot address this issue, because there have been laxity on their own part when they refuse to check what comes into the country. So only God can tell what else came into this country that was not cross-checked, because this is the only one we are aware of, because now there's scarcity of fuel. We're already having there's a fare hike for airlines and all that. So this is something we really need to be on our, we really need to stand on our feet and address issues like this, because if we keep saying it's just the fuel hike or it's just the fare hike of airline, then we very soon other sectors will start drawing back, because transport sector is something very important. I've stated that education, now we're having the transport too. These are issues coming up, so we really need to address. If this is the eve of election, then we should try and fix all the loopholes that we are having, so we can have a smooth 2023 election.
And still on Daily Trust newspaper, 470 Boko Haram insurgents, family surrender in Borno. Our Lagos-Ibadan roads rail project saved Nigerians from trekking. And guess who is saying this? President Muhammadu Buhari is saying that. President Muhammadu Buhari has justified the huge investment and borrowings by his administration in the infrastructural base of Nigeria. The president, who spoke at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja when he played host to a delegation from Kaduna State, pointed out that he understands the key role infrastructure can play in the lives of Nigerians, hence the huge investment and focus on the sector. President Buhari observed that once infrastructural facilities like rail, roads and power are sorted out, the people of the country will be able to focus on business activities easily, including moving goods from point of production to point of sale and needs. The president stated that without his intervention in infrastructural facilities and development, people will have been trekking because the roads was not there, the rail was not there, and there was no much insecurity. Sele, if I will ask this question, how many rail transports do we have in our country? We just have the Kaduna, Abuja, then we have where any longer? We don't have, apart from the Kaduna Abuja rail transport
that is functional.
That is functional. And look at even in Plateau State, we have the rail project, but we don't have the train. Yes, they are not functional. And now the president is talking as if we have the rail transport all over the 36 states in this country. And now justifying his action is saying he borrowed money to look out into all this transport, the rail, the road. Look at our road networks. They are very bad. And I just said they are used as trap, as hideout, because of the potholes. The roads are bad. If you travel on our road, even the federal road, if you travel on those roads, you'll be down with body pains because of the way the roads are. Even in the states, you see the roads, they are very bad. So all this money that are being borrowed, and the president is saying is narrowed to transportation. It's not glaring. We can't see. Definitely, if money are borrowed and narrowed into transportation, the rail, the road, it should be something that we can see. Because a country with good road network will try for growth, will try for development.
Businesses will work well.
Because you have to move your goods from point of production to point of sale. But we see that our roads are really bad. We still have the issue of the Lagos-Ibadan expressway, where it's used as a trap for armed robbers. And even at the point they kill people, they kidnap people, still on our roads. You see roads, you see trucks having problems even at the middle of the road, and people have to look for other ways to divert. I said it yesterday that you see our roads are left to those communities to be the ones refilling the road, and they are federal roads.
And
so I wonder
how
responsibility. Yes, I wonder how those roads, the money being borrowed as a country, are channeled into the road transport, channeled into the rail transport. The rail transport I know that they are working on now is the linking to Niger Republic, which is not bit of help to us. We should look out for the rail transport even in the 36 states. If they are working effectively, they are working well, then we can look out to where we can channel it to even other countries, maybe to bring in to bring in goods to our countries. But look at the rail transport even in the 36 states. They are not functional just in one state. And at times to hear records of it being of it breaking down at a point, and people cannot transport themselves. I know that the road from Kaduna to Abuja is really bad because of the insecurity and the issues that are happening in Kaduna State. Then in Lagos, we have the functional rail transport. But looking at ways that we say the president is saying that monies are being borrowed and channeled into transportation, we need to review all this, because we need to look into it. And now we have the Minister of Transportation aspiring for the position of a president. We keep on saying we need to look at your past record. We need to look at documentation on what you've done with the positions you are occupying. Okay, you are occupying the road transportation, the Ministry of Transportation, and we're not seeing glaring things that are happening, and helping citizens. When we talk about moving from one place to the other, then how can you be given the mantle to be responsible for a whole nation? Something needs to be done about it. We need to look into that. That's why I keep on saying that all the zoning going to the north, going to the south, should not carry our attention away, because it's coming at this point in time to just distract us. We should not allow it to distract us, because we need to look out for what we need as a nation. We need to look out for what we want, where we want to get to as individuals. All these things coming up at this point in time should not distract us, because we should look out for people that really have the interests of the country, really want to look out for ways we can grow, ways we can develop as a nation. And we have a picture story on the Daily Trust newspaper. We can see the air transport, and we can see that the passengers are really few. On the paper, we have just a passenger, and that's why we're having the low record of booking as passengers shun flights. And that's all for the Daily Trust newspaper.
Okay, let's touch a little from the world of business, and this is from National Economy. Experts predict sharp drop in air travelers, and we see experts have predicted a sharp drop in the number of air travelers amidst skyrocket one-way ticket fare from 30,000 naira to at least 50,000 naira. Speaking on the decision of the airline in the country to hike their base fare to 50,000 naira, the head retail investment management group at Chapel Hill Dandro Ayodeji Ibo noted that while the decision was rational, it will lead to a sharp reduction in the number of travelers, passengers for the airlines. You want to know more about that story? You can continue reading it on the front page and also on page 4 of the National Economy. How poorly capitalized discuss transfer debt burden to customers, and others say banks take over 60% stake in firms due to non-performing loans. Desperation to offset debt leads to arbitrary billing regime. This is coming from experts, and you can read detail of that on page 4 also. Russia-Ukraine tension, oil price near 100 PB dollars. Federal government approved construction of 1,565.95 kilometer road in 3 years. And we have other story here. Contributory pension scheme will solve challenges of police pension. Detail of that can be found on page 5. We have a picture story here also. Do well to grab the National Economy. You can read detail of any of the stories.
Thank you, Sele. Moving to Daily Independent, we have APC zones national chairmanship seats to North. OGD's driver kills police officer attached to former governor. And the big story says ASU adamant on strike, insists demands must be met. Federal government optimistic consensus will be reached soon. And we have federal government to spend 3.53 trillion naira on infrastructure, human capital in 2022. Details can be found in page 6 of the Daily Independent newspaper. Our roads rail project saved commuters trekking to Lagos from Ibadan, and this is coming from President Muhammadu Buhari. Court asks NDLEA to detain Abba Kyari, 6 others for more 14 days. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have been given the approval to detain the suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari, for 14 days. Justice Zainab Abubakar of the Federal High Court in Abuja gave the approval on Tuesday while ruling in an ex parte application argued by the NDLEA counsel, Joseph Sunday. The reports that Sunday had requested that the court should grant the NDLEA more time to detain Kyari on the ground that the hard drug trafficking allegation against the suspect were complex. The lawyer added that the anti-narcotic agency may need to travel outside the country to investigate the matter and get some clarification regarding the drug cartel working with Kyari. He, however, asked the court to grant the detention extension in the interest of justice and to be fair to the suspect through diligent investigation. In her ruling, Justice Abubakar granted the extension request made by the NDLEA pending the outcome of its investigation into the cocaine trafficking allegations against the embattled police officer. Court jails ex-minister, 2 others for money laundering. An oil price nears $100 as Russia orders troops into Ukraine. Importers still blame Britannia U for methanol blended fuel, says KOI got exclusive contract to bring in affected products. And the last story on 5G network will require more infrastructure to serve Nigerians. And details can be found in page 7. And talking about the story where they say importers still blame Britannia U for methanol blended fuel. What happened to those people that are supposed to check all this fuel coming into this country? This is not time for us to pass blame. Rather, we should accept our mistake. Okay, you've apologized, but passing out blame now is not just the answer. Definitely, it's not only Nigeria that got this fuel. Other countries got this fuel, but they were quiet about it. That means even motorists, even people did not get this, consume all this. They detected the methanol, the high methanol into it, they send it back. Exactly. But with we even got this fuel. It affected so many things, cars, generators. It caused so many damages for people, and now we are trying to blame those countries that brought it. If we are blaming those countries, then we should blame those people that are supposed to supersede and also look at what is coming into this country. I keep on saying greed, selfishness has become the order of the day, because those that are supposed to look out for what is coming in, they just look out for their own interest because of what they get from those people. Possibly they are being bribed by those sides, so they just collect the money and anything can come into our country. We see where our petrol is being smuggled again to another country, to Beninese. Yesterday we recorded it. So what happened to those people that are supposed to checkmate all those things? This is not time for us to blame, for passing on blame, but we should accept our fault and look out for ways we can amend all those things. Okay, there's a compensation that the federal government said they will compensate motorists. We're yet to hear of stories that people are being compensated for the damages this fuel have caused to their cars and even caused to their generator. We've not heard anything about it, and now we are trying to blame people. We should not blame people, but we should accept our lapses and look out for ways we can work on all those lapses that we have recorded from the beginning of this year.
Exactly, Tosh. Someone will come out to say possibly maybe Nigeria is a doping, will I say it's a refuge dump place, and that's why anything that is not good is being sent over to this country. When we are up on our, on our feed and we, speak out things that are not proper, then next time nothing of that sort will even come into the country, because we are always, checking things. And just like you rightly stated, agencies that are involved in this should please look into things. It's not time for you to push the blame to anybody, but then we need to be responsible in this country and take up our faults and see what we can do to readjust.
Yes, we have to look out for ways we can readjust, and at this time we'll be right back after this time out, where our phone lines will be open for you to call in on stories that interest you on the papers we are reviewing this morning on the program from the Dailies. Welcome back to the program from the Dailies, where we're reviewing stories making headlines on our papers nationally and internationally. And at this point, our phone lines are open and displayed on your screen. Do well to call, and you have 30 seconds to air your views. And also, when you call, try to move away from your TV set so that the noise will not obstruct that of the studio. So let's look at the next paper, which is the New Telegraph.
Yes, from the New Telegraph, the first story: boost for Nigeria as Ukraine crisis send oil prices near $100 a barrel. CBN credit to private sector declines to 35.45 trillion naira, and detail of that story can be found on page 2. Reps to federal government and ASU respect memorandum of understanding and end the strike. And detail of that story can be found on page 2 and 7 of the New Telegraph. Federal government warns citizen against traveling to trouble. Okay, I take that story. Federal government warns citizen against traveling to troubled region. And this is talking about the Russia versus Ukraine crisis that is going on. Lekem Balogun will be inaugurated as the 42nd Olu Ibadan on March 11. This is coming from Makinde. And the big story: looming implosion of APC and PDP. French parties aim to reap more leadership retreat, with the rider third force coalition imminent. Why smaller parties can't battle APC PDP. This is coming from CNPP scribe. Restructuring doubles, says Kwankwaso fraction. And other stories still from the New Telegraph: federal government plans for 3.53 trillion naira infrastructure human capital development, with the rider improves 14 additional roads. 78 billion naira tax credit issue to investors. And from the convention and party leadership, Buhari meets the APC governors and calls for consensus. We are united behind president. This is coming from the PGF chair. And we have agreed on zoning agreement. This is coming from Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna. And there's a study here: air pollution could reduce sperm quality. Detail of that can be found on page 8. And we have a picture story here from Unilag. Here we can see the Minister of Labor and other people also are attached there to him. Do well to grab the New Telegraph and read
Thank you, Sele. I have a caller, Mr. Dennis from Niger State. Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning, Mr. Dennis.
Hello? Yes, good morning. I want to make a comment. You are giving a long, when you are making a comment, it's always too long. Please, you are distracting me. Do you hear me?
Thank you, Mr. Dennis.
You are making, your comment is always long. To be precise and concise, please. Be precise and concise.
Let's move on to the next paper, which is the Punch newspaper. It says port congestion looms as 8,000 imported vehicles arrive Monday amid strike. And the Minister of Labour says Ngige has to trade blame. Strike national embarrassment, says reps. Senators reps to vote on constitution amendment next week. Reps grill oil firms over dirty fuel imports, may summon NNPC again. And federal government begins probe of airlines over alleged collusion to fix airfares. NLC IG disagrees over police exemption from 13.42 trillion naira pension scheme. And the big story on March 26 convention: APC factions fault party. Buhari governors opt for consensus and zoning. The rider Kwara, Osun, Rivers, others warn APC against holding convention without resolving crisis. North-South to swap position, El-Rufai. PDP mocks APC, says ruling party unorganized. Delay in electoral bill assent will affect preparation for 2023 polls, CSOs tell Buhari. Makinde to install new Olubadan, March 11. And Lagos protest, no evil must befall Aregbesola, kinsmen once. Court okays Kyari. 6 others detention for more 14 days. And cops angry as sergeant dies while opening gate for ex-governor Daniel Driver. Hoodlums attack Ogun filling station, kill 2 guards. Details can be found in page 4 and 6 of the Punch newspaper. You can see hoodlums are taking advantage of the situation on ground. We have the long queues at the filling station, and now there's a record that in Ogun State, hoodlums attacked a filling station and killed people, 2 guards in the filling station. So something needs to be done about it. We need to stop this long queue by making the premium motor spirit available for people, because we have records where people even sleep in the filling station just to get queues, just to beat the queue, just to get fuel. So something needs to be done if this can be available so that people can have access to getting the premium motor spirit, to stop the queues in the filling station, because our hoodlums now are taking advantage of the opportunity. They're taking advantage of what is on ground to kill people and even inflict more harms in the life of people. The last story on the Punch says Diziani's 450 million naira fund, ex-minister jailed for 3 months, gets 1 million naira fine option. And that's all for the Punch newspaper.
Okay, moving on now to the midweek Al Jazeera. We have the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency partners 3 COI enables small and medium enterprise easy access to funds, and this is really a right step in the right direction. Do well to read detail of that on page 23 of Al Jazeera newspaper. Nigerians should not be knobbed for drugs. This is coming from Saraki. Federal government to spend 3.53 trillion on infrastructure, human capital. And on 2023 election, third force emerges to fight APC and PDP. Kwankwaso, Buba Galadima, Solomon Daluk, others form third force. APC zones chairmanship slot to the north. Buhari support consensus, said Bagudu. Other story, NDLA gets approval to detain Abba Kyari for 2 more weeks. And on page 9 of the paper, we have dirty fuel, Rep Grease, MRS, oil, and others. And the last story I will be taking said the court jail ex-minister Ochekwe and 2 others. We also have a picture story. Do well to get that Jazeera newspaper and you can read detail of that.
Thank you, Sela. Moving to Nigerian Tribune. Gunmen set police station on fire, kill 2 policemen in Imo. 2 security guards killed by gunmen at filling station in Ogun. Lekon Balogun to be installed Olubadan, March 11. And Nigeria to sign $3.3 billion loan agreement for 10 projects. And this is coming from the finance minister. Diziani's 450 million naira bribe. Ex-minister Ochekwe, 2 others bag 6-year jail term each. And the right big story on APC zoning. North gets chairmanship, South to get presidency, as party agrees to swap offices between North, South. Buhari favors consensus, Bagudu. APC won't collapse after Buhari, and this is from the governor of Plateau State, Simon Lalong. Postponement of APC convention explains Nigerian's shambolic state, and this is from PDP. On constitution review, Senate to vote Tuesday, Reps Wednesday. And cocaine deal, court permits NDLEA to detain Abba Kyari, 6 others for 14 days. On Reps grill importers of adulterated fuel, as 3 firms deny allegations of importations of toxic petroleum products. And the picture story we have Protesters holding the placard on President Buhari hashtag sign the electoral bill. And that's all on Nigerian Tribune newspaper.
Okay, let's look at an international business standard. Germany wants exporters to check on human rights and environment. Germany's new law on supply chain ethics. And this really right step the German government are taking. European countries may follow Germany's lead. We take ties with Dahar to even higher level. And we have, amid the threats of Russia sanction, China calls for restraint. And we have, other stories still from the business standard. If you have access to that paper, do well to grab it and read more and see how Germany and other stories that are of interest to you.
Thank you. And on Business Day, subsidy, labor threats foster value destruction in Nigeria. Democracy in jeopardy as Buhari sits on electoral bill. MTN goes tech, how data overtook voice revenue. And that's all for Business Day.
Okay, let's move on now to Osun Defender. The big story, how Oyetola manipulated Osun APC governorship primary. And detail of that story can be found on page 3 of Osun Defender. And we have interpreting the figures. Figures matter in the Anambra APC primary election in 2021. Andy Oba scored 230,201, and in the general election he scored 43,285 votes. And we know this is quite an interesting story from the primaries of last Saturday in Osun. And we have APC 2018 primary election, and there are some figures looking at Oyetola had 127 votes. Osun 2018 governorship election, Oyetola had 505 votes. And also their other APC 2022 primary election, Osun APC registered members 408,697, accredited voters 207, total vote cast 235,550, and vote cast for Oyetola 220,165 votes. For those who are interested in knowing the figures and how the election took place, just get the Osun Defender newspaper and you can read detail on the election in Osun State.
And the last paper I'll be reviewing this morning is the Sweet Crude Report. Reps to question suppliers of dirty fuel, Tuesday, February 22nd. Nigerian content to retain $8 billion annually, creates 50,000 jobs in 11 years. Tanker drivers, NNPC assures fund for critical roads will be applied appropriately, and measures in place to accelerate fuel supply and distribution. And this is coming from Kyari, and that's how far we can go on this program this morning. Sele, any words for our viewers?
Yeah, of course. If the politics doesn't affect you, the policy would definitely affect you. Shine your eyes and do the right thing.
Shine your eyes and do the right thing, and know that you deserve to be happy irrespective. Create the atmosphere for happiness and joy around you. Have a good morning.